I found my wife cheating with her boss, then discovered she'd manipulated a will to claim $300, $0 of my inheritance. Turns out she's been planning her escape with my estate all along, and now she's suing me for half of everything, even though I never signed any agreement. Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons, with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to catch his wife cheating on him, but here I am, telling this story because I honestly don't know what else to do. The craziest part is, it all started with little signs, things I brushed off at first. She'd be distracted, secretive on her phone, and I noticed her spending more time at work than usual, but I figured it was just a new project or some late nights. Little did I know, the biggest betrayal was hiding behind that sleek smile she always wore. Her name, Jessica. We've been married for about 5 years now. She's beautiful, confident, and for the most part charming. But lately I'd picked up on a shift. Her attitude was colder, more dismissive. She'd snap at me over small things, avoid intimacy, and I'd catch her deleting messages on her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. I tried to ignore it, convince myself it was stress or work pressure. But then, a week ago, I found a receipt in her purse $150 at a fancy hotel downtown. I didn't think much of it until I saw the time, 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. That night I stayed up late scrolling through her messages and I found it. A series of texts from her boss, Mark. They were flirty, suggestive, full of inside jokes and plans to meet after hours. I couldn't believe it. My wife, Jessica, cheating on me with her boss. It wasn't just a one-time thing either. The texts showed they'd been doing this for months. The worst part. She lied about her schedule, told me she was working late, and I believed her. I even thought maybe it was just a fling, a mistake. But then I saw the photos, more than a dozen, pictures of them together, kissing, holding hands. Even one of her in bed with him. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My mind spun. How could she do this? After everything we'd been through, after I trusted her with my life, she was out there sneaking around with her boss. I was furious, but mostly I was devastated. I'd always thought she was my partner, my best friend. Now I saw her for what she really was, a liar, a cheat. And it wasn't just the affair, it was the way she'd manipulated me too. I remembered reading the will a few months ago and I realized she'd been messing with it. Turns out, Jessica had been secretly working on altering my inheritance. I had a will drafted a while back, leaving me with a tidy sum, about $300, $0, after my parents passed. I trusted her to keep her nose out of my finances. But I found out she'd gone to a lawyer behind my back, changed the will, and now she was claiming half of everything. She'd forged signatures, lied to the lawyer, and even manipulated some legal documents to make it seem like I'd agreed. All this while she was pretending to be the perfect wife. I was stunned. How long had she been planning this? Was the affair just part of her grand scheme to run off with my money? I confronted her the next morning. I had all the proof, screenshots, receipts, copies of the altered will. I expected her to deny, to lie, to spin some bullshit about how she loved me and it was all a mistake. But she just looked at me with that bitchy little smile and said, "You're overreacting. You don't have any proof. You're just paranoid." That's when I lost it. I told her I knew everything, that I'd seen the messages, the hotel receipt, the forged documents. Her face turned pale for a second, then she snapped back, accusing me of being jealous, insecure, and that I was just imagining things. The emotional roller coaster was insane. I felt betrayed, humiliated, angry, and heartbroken all at once. I'd always been the stable one in this marriage, the guy who worked hard, paid the bills, and trusted his wife. Now I was questioning everything, my judgment, her loyalty, our entire life together. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I kept replaying her lies, her sneers, her manipulations. It felt like my whole world was collapsing around me and I didn't know how to fix it. I thought about confronting her again, but I knew deep down that she'd just lie her way out of it, spin some new story to keep her secrets safe. I kept asking myself, was I blind? Did I miss all the signs? How long had she been planning her escape? And more than anything, I wondered how she could be so cold, so calculating, using me, cheating on me, manipulating my inheritance, all while pretending to be the loving wife I thought I knew. It's a lot to process. I feel like I'm still in shock, just trying to figure out what's next. I never imagined I'd be in this position, but here I am, staring down the reality that my wife betrayed me in every possible way. After I confronted Jessica that morning, everything changed in an instant. She didn't even try to deny it anymore. Instead, she just sat there smirking like she knew she had me cornered. Her eyes were cold and her tone was dismissive when she said, "You're overreacting. You don't have any proof. You're just paranoid." That's when I realized she was a master manipulator. She thought she could talk her way out of this, as she always did. But I had everything: screenshots of the texts, the hotel receipt, the forged legal documents. I laid it all out on the table and she finally dropped her act. Her reaction was infuriating. She scoffed and said, "Honestly, you're just jealous. Mark's the one I want, not you. You're boring and you don't give me what I need anymore." I couldn't believe her audacity. She was so full of shit. I told her I was done, that I'd call the lawyer and take legal action if she even tried to claim anything from my inheritance. But she just laughed, a bitter, nasty laugh, and said she'd see me in court. That's when I realized she'd already started planning her escape. She wasn't just cheating, she was trying to steal from me too. I spent the next few days in a fog. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck, angry, humiliated, betrayed. I kept replaying everything in my mind. All the moments I thought we were happy, all the times I trusted her, and how she'd been lying to my face for months. I started digging into her phone, her emails, anything I could find. I needed to know if she'd been planning this for a long time or if I was just naive. Turns out, she'd been secretly meeting with her lawyer behind my back for months, trying to alter the will. I found emails where she was asking about protecting her interests, and I realized she'd been manipulating legal documents to make herself the sole beneficiary. The money aspect hit me hard. That $300, $0 was supposed to be my security, my future. But Jessica saw it as her ticket out. She was so obsessed with escaping her boring life with me that she was willing to lie, cheat, and steal just to get her hands on it. The more I learned, the more I felt like I'd been played for a fool. I had trusted her completely, and she'd been planning her exit from day one. It was like she'd been pretending to be my wife just to get to my inheritance. That realization made my blood boil. I decided I had to act fast. I contacted a lawyer and we started working on how to undo her manipulations. I didn't want her to get away with this, but the thing that really shook me was her attitude. When I told her I was going to fight her in court, she just shrugged and said, "Good luck, idiot. You're not going to win. I've got everything covered." Hearing her say that made me realize she was more ruthless than I thought. She was willing to burn everything down just to get her way. Meanwhile, Jessica kept up her act, pretending to be innocent, acting like she cared, even crying fake tears when I told her I was serious about ending the marriage. But I saw through her. I knew she was only sorry she got caught, not sorry for what she did. Every conversation with her now was a game of chess, and I had to be careful not to fall for her lies again. I felt like I was losing my mind, caught between heartbreak and pure rage. That's when I started thinking about revenge, not just to hurt her, but to make her pay for everything she put me through. I didn't want her to walk away with my money, my life, and my dignity. I wanted her to see what it felt like to be betrayed, to be manipulated, to be used. I knew I couldn't just let her take everything without a fight. I had some ideas, plans I was starting to put into motion. I didn't want to destroy her, but I wanted her to regret ever crossing me. That's what kept me going, honestly, knowing that I wasn't going to let her get away with this, no matter what. I also started thinking about how I got here. I was a simple guy, worked hard, paid my taxes, built a life with her. Yet she turned out to be this calculating, selfish person. It made me realize that trust is fragile, and sometimes you can't see the betrayal coming until it's staring you in the face. I've learned a lot about myself through all this mess. I've learned that I need to be more cautious, more skeptical, and definitely more prepared for the worst. I don't think I'll ever trust blindly again, not after what she did. So now I'm sitting here, waiting for the legal stuff to go through, trying to piece my life back together. Jessica keeps trying to manipulate the situation, but I'm determined not to let her win. I want her to understand that there are consequences for betrayal, especially when it's wrapped in lies and greed. This isn't just about the money anymore. It's about standing up for myself and making sure she knows she can't get away with screwing over someone who trusted her. I'll fight for what's mine, and I'll make damn sure she regrets crossing that line. Things have only gotten messier since I started digging deeper into her manipulations. I hired a private investigator just to confirm what I already suspected, that Jessica wasn't just cheating with her boss, Mark, but she was also actively trying to drain me financially. The pie uncovered a lot more than I expected. Jessica had been meeting with a shady lawyer behind my back, drafting new documents, and even trying to set up some offshore accounts to hide her tracks. It's like she was planning her escape for months, and I was just too blind to see it. One of the most shocking things I found was an email chain between her and the lawyer, discussing how to legally claim half of everything I own. They were talking about forging signatures, manipulating legal language, and even trying to get me committed or declared mentally unfit if I ever found out. I honestly don't know how deep her plans went, but it was clear she was prepared to do whatever it took to walk away with my money and reputation. I felt sick reading all this. It was like discovering your wife has been plotting your downfall from the inside. Meanwhile, Jessica kept up her act of being the perfect, innocent wife, dressing up, acting like she still loved me, even crying fake tears when I pressed her about her whereabouts. She'd lie through her teeth, claiming she was just working late or out with friends, but I knew better now. The texts, the emails, the receipts, they all painted a different picture. She'd been secretly meeting Mark, planning her exit, and trying to manipulate the legal system to get her hands on my inheritance. I felt like I'd been played for a fool, and honestly, I was furious. The worst part, she's now suing me for half of everything I own. She claims I signed some agreement that I consented to her taking half my estate, but that's bullshit. I never signed anything like that. It's all just her lies and manipulations. I'm so angry I could scream. How dare she try to steal my future after all I've done? How could she be so cold, so calculating? I've never felt this betrayed in my life. It's like she's willing to destroy everything we built just to get her hands on my money and leave me in the dirt. I started thinking about the revenge I want. Not just legal revenge, though that's necessary, but also a way to make her suffer emotionally. I want her to realize what it feels like to be betrayed, to be used, to be lied to. I've decided to fight her in court, to expose her for the manipulative liar she is. But I also plan to make her regret ever crossing me. Maybe I'll leak some of her messages, expose her affair, show everyone what kind of person she really is. I want her to know that her schemes won't succeed, that I'm not going down without a fight. But it's not just about revenge. It's about reclaiming my life and dignity. Every night I lie awake, replaying everything, feeling the sting of her betrayal. I trusted her with everything, the house, my future, my heart. And she repaid that trust by sneaking around, manipulating legal documents and trying to scam me out of what's rightfully mine. It's a hard pill to swallow, realizing someone you loved could be so selfish, so ruthless. I keep asking myself, how did I miss all the signs? How did I not see the warning flags? But the truth is, I was blinded by love and hope. Now I see her clearly for the manipulative, self-centered person she is. I've started gathering evidence to counter her claims. I've hired a good lawyer who's confident we can undo the forged documents and stop her from claiming any of my inheritance. She's got her own lawyer now, of course, and I know this will turn into a messy, ugly fight. But I'm ready. I've got nothing to lose at this point. I just want her to understand that she can't screw me over and get away with it. I want her to feel the weight of her lies, her betrayal, her greed. I want her to know that her actions have consequences. Honestly, I've reached a point where I don't even recognize my own life anymore. The woman I married turned out to be someone I barely know, someone willing to lie, cheat, manipulate, and steal just to get what she wants. It's a harsh lesson, but I've learned that trust can be fragile, and sometimes people will do anything to get ahead. I'm trying to stay strong, to keep my head clear, and to focus on rebuilding my life after this chaos. But I won't lie, there's a part of me that just wants to see her suffer a little to make her realize the damage she's done. Every day I wake up, I remind myself that I deserve better. I deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect. Jessica took all of that and threw it out the window. Now I'm fighting to take it back piece by piece. I don't know what the future holds, whether I'll get justice, whether I'll ever fully recover from this betrayal. But I do know one thing, I won't let her destroy me without a fight. I'll make sure she regrets the day she ever crossed me, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect what's mine. The legal battle is now in full swing, and I've never been more exhausted. Every day feels like a new insult. Jessica's lawyers throwing out motions, trying to drag things out, claiming she's the victim, that I'm the one trying to cheat her out of her fair share. It's all bullshit. I have all the proof, emails, forged documents, witness statements, that she's been scheming for months. Still, I can't shake the feeling that she's just playing dirty, trying to wear me down. Meanwhile, I've been digging into her past, trying to understand what made her this way. Turns out Jessica has always been manipulative. She's good at pretending to be sweet, but behind closed doors, she's ruthless. Growing up, she was always the one pushing her way to get what she wanted, lying if she had to, twisting things to her advantage. That's why I think she was so comfortable doing this, lying, cheating, stealing from me. It's just her nature. I never saw it coming because I was so blinded by love, but now I see her for what she really is, a self-centered, greedy bitch. She's also been trying to turn friends and family against me. I caught wind of some fake stories she was spreading, saying I was abusive, emotionally unstable, that I was trying to cheat on her. None of it is true. I've never laid a finger on her and I've always been faithful. But she's good at spinning lies, and I know she's trying to rally support to weaken my case. It's infuriating. I've always believed that honesty and integrity matter, but Jessica's proven that she'll do whatever it takes to get her way, no matter how low she has to go. On top of that, she's been trying to manipulate the situation legally. Her lawyer sent me a cease and desist letter, claiming I can't pursue any action because she's entitled to part of my estate. That's when I realized she's counting on me to back down, but I won't. I've got nothing to hide, and I refuse to let her walk away with my money just because she's good at lying. I've hired a forensic accountant to track every dollar she's tried to hide or manipulate. It's a mess, but I need to be thorough. The emotional toll is huge. Every time I see her in court or hear about her latest stunt, I feel a mixture of rage and despair. I was so trusting, so naive. I thought she loved me, but instead she was planning her escape, using me as a stepping stone. I keep asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind to her true nature. It's a bitter pill, and some days it's hard to keep going. I catch myself wondering if I'll ever get closure, if I'll ever feel like I've truly moved on from this nightmare. One thing I do know, I can't let her win. That means fighting harder, digging deeper, and staying one step ahead. I've started documenting everything, every email, every text, every meeting with her lawyer. I want to have a solid case to expose her schemes and show everyone what kind of person she really is. I also plan to confront her directly if I get the chance. Not just about the legal stuff, but about how she lied to my face, how she used me, and how she manipulated everything for her own selfish gain. Honestly, I've never felt so betrayed in my life. I thought I knew her, but now I realize I was just fooling myself. She's a master manipulator, and she's been using her charm as a weapon. I want to make her regret it, make her see that her actions have consequences. I'm not just fighting for my inheritance or my reputation. I'm fighting to reclaim my dignity. I want her to understand that she can't just lie and cheat her way through life without paying the price. I also started thinking about what I'll do once this is over. Will I be able to trust again? Can I ever forgive her? Honestly, I don't know yet. Right now, I'm just trying to stay strong, to keep my head clear, and to focus on the goal, justice. I've learned a lot through this ordeal. Trust is fragile, and sometimes people show their true colors when you least expect it. I've learned that even the most loving-looking people can be hiding something dark inside. And I've learned that standing up for yourself is the only way to survive when someone tries to take everything you have, emotionally, financially, and legally. There's a part of me that still hopes she'll come to her senses, that she'll realize what she's risking and try to fix things. But deep down, I know that's unlikely. She's too far gone, too caught up in her greed and her lies. I just want this nightmare to be over so I can start rebuilding. I don't want her in my life anymore, not after what she's done. I want to find peace, even if it means going through hell first. And I want to make sure that when all is said and done, I come out on top, not just financially but also emotionally. Because I know I deserve that much. The court hearings have become a roller coaster, each session revealing more of her schemes, and each time I feel like I'm fighting not just her but a system that seems to favor the manipulator. Jessica's lawyers have been relentless, throwing everything they can, bogus claims, delays, and even trying to discredit me personally. But I've got the evidence now, the forged signatures, the emails, the witness testimonies. It's like a chess game, and I'm determined not to make a careless move. One of the most disturbing things I uncovered recently was her attempt to set up an offshore account. She hired an offshore lawyer, supposedly to protect her assets, but I found out she was trying to hide a significant chunk of money, around $50, $0, in a foreign bank account. She thought she was so clever, thinking I'd never find out. Well, I did. I hired an international financial investigator and they traced every dollar. Now I have proof that she's been actively trying to hide her assets, which will definitely hurt her case in court. The emotional toll has been brutal. Every day I wake up feeling like I've been punched in the stomach, knowing she's still out there scheming. I've had sleepless nights, anxiety attacks, and moments where I just want to give up. But I keep reminding myself why I started this fight, to protect what's mine, to expose her lies, and to get some semblance of justice. It's not just about the money anymore. It's about standing my ground and refusing to let her manipulate me or the system. Jessica's been trying to play the victim, claiming I'm the one who's abusive or controlling. She's spreading stories to friends and family, saying I'm unstable, that I'm the one tearing everything apart. It's infuriating. I know the truth, and I have the evidence to back it up. But her lies are like poison, and I worry about how much damage she's already done to my reputation. Still, I refuse to let her smear me completely. I've been collecting witness statements and text messages that show her true character, controlling, manipulative, and utterly selfish. At the same time, I've been thinking about what I want for the future. I've decided I won't settle for a quick settlement just to get this over with. I want her to pay, not just financially but emotionally. I want her to realize that her actions have consequences. I want her to live with the guilt of what she's done, knowing she nearly destroyed my life. I've even considered leaking some of her private messages online, just to show everyone what kind of person she is, her lies, her affairs, her manipulations. I know it's risky, but part of me wants her to feel exposed, vulnerable, just like I do now. I've also started thinking about therapy. I know I need help processing all this chaos. I've been so caught up in fighting that I haven't taken care of myself. The betrayal has left a deep scar, and I realize I can't heal if I don't deal with the emotional damage. I've reached out to a counselor, and it's helping to talk through everything. How? I feel what I want, what I deserve. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever fully trust again, but I do know I need to rebuild myself first. The worst part about all this is feeling so alone in it. Jessica's good at pretending she's innocent, and her family seems to buy her lies. I've lost some friends because they believed her stories about me, and that stings. But I know I have to stay true to myself. I've learned that sometimes the people you think are on your side are just as capable of turning against you when it's convenient. That's a hard lesson, but one I won't forget. Right now, I'm just trying to hold on. I want to see this through to the end, to make her face the consequences of her greed and lies. I want her to know she can't just manipulate her way out of what she's done. I want to reclaim my life and my dignity piece by piece. The legal battle is far from over, and I know there will be more surprises ahead. But I'm determined to come out on top, stronger, wiser, and free from her shadow. I deserve that much, at least, and I won't stop fighting until I get it. The final court hearing was supposed to be the culmination of everything. It felt like a showdown, a moment where I'd finally get some clarity, some justice. Jessica's team came prepared with all their tricks, trying to spin her lies and dismiss the evidence I'd painstakingly gathered. But I was ready. I knew her game now. I stood there, feeling a mix of exhaustion and determination, knowing that no matter what she threw at me, I had the truth on my side. As the judge reviewed the case, I watched Jessica's face. She was trying to look confident, but I saw the cracks. Her eyes darted and her smug smile was trembling just a little. The lawyer argued about her entitlement, about how she was merely exercising her rights, but I had the documents, the witness statements, the forensic reports. Everything pointed to her deception, her forging signatures, trying to hide assets, manipulating the will. The judge listened carefully, and I could see her reviewing the evidence, her brow furrowing as she realized the extent of Jessica's manipulations. When the judge finally spoke, her voice was firm. She ordered the immediate freezing of the offshore account, the invalidation of the forged documents, and declared that Jessica had no legal claim to any part of my inheritance. The ruling was clear. I was getting back what was rightfully mine, and Jessica's plans to steal my estate were thwarted. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about standing up for myself, about finally exposing her lies and manipulations. Jessica's reaction was classic. She burst into tears, claiming I was ruining her life, that I was a monster, that I'd been emotionally abusive. But I didn't care. I knew the truth, and I knew I'd won this battle. The court's decision was final, and I had the receipts, the proof, the witnesses to back me up. I saw her face twist with rage and frustration as she realized her schemes had failed. That moment was sweet. I'd spent so long feeling helpless, betrayed, and angry, and now I finally felt like I'd reclaimed some control. In the days that followed, I started to rebuild. I sold the house she'd manipulated me into buying, cut ties with her family who believed her lies, and began focusing on my own healing. I got a new job, moved into a small apartment, and started therapy to deal with the emotional scars. It's been a long road, but I'm finally feeling like I can breathe again. The betrayal still stings, but I'm learning to live with it, to forgive myself for trusting her too much, and to set boundaries I'd never had before. Looking back, I realize how much I've grown. I've learned to be more cautious, more skeptical, and more aware of the people I let into my life. I've learned that trust can be fragile, and sometimes the people closest to you are capable of the worst betrayals. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I fought for everything I believe in, and I won. Jessica's greed and lies couldn't destroy me, and I refused to let her define my future. Now I'm focused on moving forward. I've started dating again, cautiously but with more wisdom. I understand that not everyone is who they seem, and I'm more careful about who I trust. I know I'll never forget what happened, but I also won't let it consume me. It's a chapter I'll always carry. A lesson in betrayal and resilience. I hope my story serves as a warning. Trust is precious, but it's fragile. And when someone betrays that trust, sometimes the only way to survive is to fight back, to expose the lies, and to reclaim what's yours. Because in the end, nobody is going to do that for you. You have to do it yourself.